Hello and welcome to Sailboat Ads, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I haven't done an ugly one in a long time, so today we're going to look at some ugly boats. Um, yeah, mostly focused on some pretty cool, interesting, unique yachts from different parts of the country, and we even stepped overseas. And today we're going to go back to the South Florida area, and you typically find the rough ones on Craigslist, not on Yacht World or one of the you know, pay for play websites. And today we're going to let's start with kind of a sad one. I'm going to put you over here. Yeah. So this is a Jim Brown trimaran. And if you've been following along, you know I own a trimaran and I'm kind of a fan. Jim Brown is a well-known um, naval architect, small boat architect, I would have to say. He designed many different kinds of small trimarans from probably about the 20-foot range up to um, probably up to about 40. I don't know his whole catalog. But anyhow, here's one that's in Marathon, Florida. And actually, let me start with the opening. And I'll just read first. 31 footer, 1974, Sea Runner. Built with marine ply with fiberglass covering, well built, she is a fast cruising boat with a draft of 3 feet to get into shallow areas, very stable for deep water with a 6-foot draft with the center board down. She has a kick-up rudder with stainless steel housing, bottom paint 5 years ago, trampolines are intact. The A-frames are solid, there is plenty of storage in the amas. Those are the float hulls. If you're not familiar with that term, oops. That would be those are the amas. Inside, the counter needs to be covered due to some recent work. Still needs some TLC. Boy, is that an understatement. Sails, main, stay with roller furling, Yankee jib, blah, 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 blah. New mainsail cover. Doesn't say how old the actual sails are. Well, I'm going to guess they're real old. Bimini needs to be replaced. New 15 horsepower Yamaha extra long shaft. It was pretty common for these boats to not have diesel engines. They went with outboards for simplicity and cost. 2 burner stove, manual head, 20-gallon. Definitely has an interesting head. Asking 13,000, must sell due to health condition. I always hate to read that. That's just, that's someone's having a bad time in their lives. And actually, I skipped over electronics because there's a bunch of solar panels that look like they're just sort of thrown all over the place. So let's go look at our photos. So one of the things about Jim Brown designs is that they are not particularly beamy, and trimarans gain a lot of their stability with having a wider beam, and this boat really does not have much of a beam. Certainly not like modern Corsairs or other trimarans that are around today. And I think you immediately get an idea of what rough shape this thing is in. It may have had bottom paint 5 years ago, but I would say it ain't working no more. We have a very sketchy looking solar array. You do have a couple of jibs. The paint looks terrible. It's interesting that you've got side stays that are just bolted through the side of the ama there, which is probably not the strongest point of the boat. And you see he's got solar array on both sides, and they both look pretty sketchy. And it's such a horrible color as well. So here we're inside the isinglass enclosure, and there's just all kinds of clues that this is not a boat that has been well kept. You've got stained and very nasty, old, salty, crusty cushions. You've got some sort of repair. Is that a repair? I would say that's a repair. The table looks like crap. We get out. So here's our ama. Here's our main. He says he has good trampolines. Trampolines would normally be in here, but maybe they're not on this design. This looks like your main cockpit again. There's a very beat up old cushion, horribly stained, really bad paint and stain job. It's just, this is a very neglected boat. We're now down below, and one of the curious things about these boats is their odd layout. Certainly nothing like a monohull. You can see they're actually using this as a step down. Now we're looking forward from that main salon. You've got kind of a little settee area of what this is supposed to be. I assume that this is supposed to become some kind of berth. Looks like you've got some charge controllers for your solar panels, a very small fan. Probably not much help in southern Florida. So you got little cubbies for some storage. One of the aspects of these boats is that typically it was not how it was built was not covered up. So things like your mounting hardware around your windows was out in the open. Screw heads and whatnot would be obvious, like these. There's your windows again. I'm shocked that he would even mention the cooker because that looks like it needs to be thrown away. You do get some tile, however, so that's a bonus. That's pretty cool. I think that would be, that'd be worth $2. What wood there is, and also typical of these designs, is they didn't have a lot of interior woodwork. It's more expensive. Just build it in plywood and cover it in fiberglass. This is a very janky looking, obviously nothing covered up. I assume that your storage is supposed to go side by side with the actual plumbing here. You do have a couple of foot pumps, some random piece of wire that's not going anywhere. Hopefully that's not live. And now we have stepped into kind of another storage space in the head area. Does not appear that there's a door. This looks like it's kind of a quarter berth arrangement. That looks like an outdoor grill they threw down on this berth. Not a good idea. Beg your pardon. I've got a call and I'm going to ignore it. Some more sort of cubby storage spaces. And here's your head. Doesn't look like there's a door. There is a curtain. So there's a bit of privacy and very elegantly installed. I mean, this really looks like it was home built. And anytime you get into one of these things, you really have to question the quality of it. I would want to have a real survey done just to see, to make sure that structurally it's sound. $13,000. Is this thing worth $13,000? I would say not. Ooh, there's a big roll of thunder outside. Condition fair. At least that's that's honest. Yeah, I wouldn't give you 13 for it. The design is rough. Where it's at in its life is very rough. So let's move on. So here's an Erickson, 38-foot Erickson sloop, and I have a soft spot in my heart for Ericksons. My family owned an Erickson 25 with a swing keel that we owned in Colorado, and very nice, sort of a proper yacht little boat. 38 foot, good rigging and running diesel, needs sails, interior cleaning, salvage vessel, never sunk, apply for title with bill of sale. If I apply, price is double. Okay, well, there's a guy who's hoping just to dump this thing, and he only wants $3,000 for it. So let's see what we got. Definitely a lot from this picture that looks promising. He's obviously got a furler. The mast looks in decent shape, although that's always hard to tell from a picture of this distance. The stainless, there's nothing bent. I'm guessing this was not a storm boat. It's just been neglected. Here's your completely deflated rib. It's sitting on some waterway somewhere. Then we get to the interior, and the bad news gets worse. I'm not sure how interior wood would get this bad unless it was exposed to the elements. I mean, this just looks absolutely awful. You get a sense for, there's no floor here. All of this would have been probably teak back in the day. And yeah, how does it get this weathered? Unless it was just opened up and left open and it rained in here. And this is a very sad boat. I feel sorry for it and its owner. This would be an absolutely massive project. You would put tens of thousands of dollars into this thing and it would still only be worth 15. These were quite a nice design. Actually, this electrical panel doesn't look bad at all. There's your Erickson Yachts logo. Here you get to see sort of the neglect on deck. For $3,000, strip it and throw it out. I hate to say it, but all this hardware that's on here, even like the windows, your winches, your traveler, obviously the mast and boom, the stanchions, all that stuff is worth more than $3,000, I would think. You've got a lot of blocks. These things just never ever seem to go bad. I would, yeah, I hate to say it. I think I would give up on this one. That's too much work, and I'm guessing the bottom is absolutely disgusting. So that's a sad little boat, and now we're going to look at something entirely different. Cruising catamaran, 86 foot, ready for interior, $3.5 million raros. Custom catamaran by Pedigree Catamarans with Erickson foam, e-glass, carbon fiber, and Kevlar. Her length is 86, beam is 42. 6 queen size ensuite staterooms. Custom cat. Currently at current stage of construction. Death in the family. Another sad story somewhere. Forces to sail. Large 30 by 50 blank canvas ready for galley, settee, and living area. Aluminum 86-foot mast, 30-foot boom, twin Yanmar 315 horsepower with full feathering props. 2 Onan generators, 11 and 13 kW. Lumar's 10-point kW bow thruster, 7 Raritan Elegance porcelain elongated toilets. Lumar hatches and port lights, 2,000-gallon diesel tanks, 100-gallon gas tanks for toys, 220-gallon freshwater tanks. They make it sound like there's multiples, which I think you'd want on a boat this size. Dinghy garage, Nick Jackson, never heard of that, 1,200-pound davit, ready for interior, final paint finishes. Needs a lot more than that. I mean, the exterior looks beautiful. They obviously had started on the outside and were working in. Yeah, look at the shine on that hull. The quality of the finish on the exterior looks really nice. And either they just buffed it up or it's been carefully maintained. Here's a side steering station, so you can look down the side of the hull when you're docking her. This would be a massive thing to try and dock, 86 feet long. And then we start getting into the not so good stuff. This is obviously your exterior cockpit space. I mean, it's beautiful from the sense of there's a lot of it, but holy buckets, this would be a lot of work. There are your Yanmars, 315 horse each. That seems like an enormous amount, but it's a big boat. Generator, bow thruster, and then we get to the interior, and you really would need to be a boat yard to do this. This is not a DIY thing. I don't care how skilled you are and how much time you've got. This would just take forever to finish. Here's your massive. I wish there was a human being standing next to that, because I'm betting this is 18 inches, maybe 24 inches front to back. There are some parts that look like they've been done. We've got some glass and some headwork done. Still needs a floor. Also very difficult when it's in partial finish, because do you tear out the old stuff and start over? Trying to match the new to the old would be very difficult. Here's a, I don't know what this is. That looks like it might be some kind of appliance. Here's quite a nice looking, is this a master head with a couple of vessel sinks, slider. This looks like Home Depot kind of hardware though. And once again, you know, they've done some of the finishes. Might be very difficult to come back in and finish out this boat and make it all look like it makes sense. Yeah. So 86 footer, let's say if it was done, what's that worth if you went and bought one new today? I think it's worth about 10 million bucks by a quality manufacturer. So could you put 6 million into it, into the interior? Probably. I don't think that this is worth $3.5 million though. That's just going to be a ton of money. So we had some sad ones today. We had the Jim Brown. We had the old Erickson, poor old Erickson. If I lived on a coast, I would be highly tempted to buy one of these. I think they're so good looking. Um, yeah, you don't really get a sense for what it looks like in profile, but they're very handsome designs. So yeah, that's it for today. Relatively short one. Thanks as always for watching. I sure appreciate it. And I will catch you the next time.